Acts chapter 10. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian Band, a devout man, and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. He saw in a vision, evidently about the ninth hour of the day, an angel of God coming in to him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before God. And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodged with one Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the sea. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. When the angel spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called to his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the sixth hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven opened, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet meat, a sheet meat at the four corners, and went down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. And Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. The voice spake unto him again, saying, What God hath cleansed, thou call not thou. What God has cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now, now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house, and stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there. Well, Peter thought, Peter, the Spirit said unto him, Behold, three men seek thee. Arise, therefore, and get thee down, and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them. Then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, Behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore you come? And they said, Cornelius, the centurion, a just man, one that fears God, and of good report among all the nation of the Jews, was warned from God by an holy angel to send for thee into his house, and to hear words of thee. Then called he them in, and lodged them. And on the morrow Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him. And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, the morrow after they the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, Cornelius waited for them, and called together and Kitchen and their friends. And Peter was coming in. Cornelius met him, and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. And Peter took him up, saying, Stand up, I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together. He said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company, or come unto one of another nation. But God hath shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Therefore came I unto you without gainsaying, as soon as I was sent forth. I said for what? He said, You have sent away. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour, and at the ninth hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, thy prayer is heard, and thine alms are had in remembrance in the sight of God. Send therefore to Joppa, and call hither Simon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged in the house of one Simon, a tanner by the seaside, who, when he cometh, shall speak unto thee. Immediately therefore I sent to thee, and thou hast well done that thou art come. Now therefore are we all here present before God, to hear all things that are commanded of God. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, Of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. The word which God sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Jesus Christ, he is Lord of all. That word, I say, ye know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached, how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Ghost and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for God was with him. And we are witnesses of all things that he did both in the land of the Jews and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. Him God raised up the third day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but unto witnesses shown before of God, even to us who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach unto the people and to testify that it is he which was ordained of God to be the judge of the quick and dead. To him give all the prophets witness that through his name whosoever believeth in him shall receive a remission of sins. While Peter yet spake these words, the Holy Ghost fell on all of them which heard the word, and they of the circumcision which believed were astonished, as many as come with Peter, because that on the Gentiles also was poured out of the gift of the Holy Ghost, for they heard them speak with tongues and magnify God. Then answered Peter, Can any man forbid water, that these should not be baptized, which have received the Holy Ghost as well as we? And he commanded them to be baptized in the name of the Lord. Then prayed they him to tarry certain days. Matthew chapter 11. And it came to pass, when Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. And when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent to his disciples and said unto them, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Go and show John again those things which ye do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, and lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. And as they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitudes concerning John, What went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of woman, there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist, notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in markets and calling unto their fellows, and saying, We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. For John came neither eating and drinking, and they say he hath a devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold, a man gluttonous, a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children. Then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because we repented not. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, it would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until this day. But I say unto you, that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. At that time Jesus answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for so it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father, neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Psalm 19, to the chief musician, the Psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech. and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is none hid from the heat thereof. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, shall be innocent from great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength, my Redeemer, and my Redeemer. Psalm 20. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob defend thee. Send thee help from the sanctuary, and strengthen thee out of Zion. Remember all thy offerings, accept thy burnt sacrifice, Selah. Grant thee according to thine own heart, and fulfill all thy counsel. We will rejoice in thy salvation. In the name of our God, will set up our banners. The Lord fulfill all thy petitions. Now know I that the Lord saveth his anointed. He will hear him from his holy heaven with saving strength to his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save, Lord. Let the King hear us when we call. Psalm 21, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. The king shall joy in thy strength, O Lord, and in thy salvation how greatly shall he rejoice. Thou hast given him his heart's desire, and has not withholden the request of his lips. Selah. For thou preventest him with the blessings of goodness. Thou settest a crown of pure gold on his head. He asked life of thee, and thou gavest it him, even length of days forever and ever. His glory is great in thy salvation. Honor and majesty hast thou laid upon him. For thou hast made him most blessed forever. Thou hast made him exceeding glad with thy countenance. For the king trusteth in the Lord, and through the mercy of the Most High he shall not be moved. Thy hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee. Thou shalt make them as, as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Their fruit shalt thou destroy from the earth, and their seed from among the children of men. For they intended evil against thee. They imagine a mischievous device, which they are not able to perform. Therefore thou shalt make them turn their back, and thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. Be thou exalted, Lord, in thine own strength. So will we sing the praise, sing and praise, sing and praise thy power. Genesis chapter 25. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimron, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua, and Jokshan, and Jokshan begot Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanak, and Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, but unto the sons of the concubines which Abram had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son. While he yet lived eastward unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 160 and 15 years. 160 threescore and 15. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man, full of years, who was gathered unto his people. And his son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zoar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah's wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well of Lahairoi. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mizam, and Mishwa, and Dubal, and Masa, Hadar, and Tema, Jetur, Nephish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael. And these are their names, by their towns, by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the ghost and died, was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Pandanaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am to the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob saw Esau. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he said, eat and drink. And he did eat, and he did eat, and he did eat, and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. And there was a famine in the land, besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham and Isaac and Isaac and Isaac. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of, sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee. And I will bless thee for unto thee and unto thy seed. I will get up all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven. And I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And the man of the place asked him, why? He said, she's my sister. For he feared to say, she is my wife, lest, said he, the man of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass when he had been there a long time that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how saidst thou, she is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain, might lightly have lain with thy wife. Thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. Then Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He that toucheth the man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year a hundredfold. The Lord best blessed him. The man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him for all the wells which his father's servant had digged in the days of Abraham his father. The Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from thus, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of the wells. And Isaac digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. He called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well and strove for that also. And they called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence and digged another well. And for that they strove not. He called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord hath made room for us. We shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba. And the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bless thee and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there. There Isaac's servants digged a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar. One of his friends, and Phicol, chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore come ye to me, seeing you hate me and have sent me away from you. Why have sent me away from you? And he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants did dwell. And Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzah, one of his friends, and Michael, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee, and we said, Let there be now an oath twixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee. And as we have gone unto thee, and as we have, okay. And they said, okay. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, Let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware one to another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said to him, We have found water. And he said, It Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took a wife, when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Beshemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mind unto Isaac to Rebekah. I tell you. All right. All right. Like Lieber White Wealth, The Search for Power and Economic Justice by Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson. Who's who in racial and ethnic rankings? If blacks are at the bottom, who is at the middle and the top in the racial and ethnic ranking system of this country? The major elements in determining one's ranking are race, skin color, country of origin, ethnicity, and religious domination. The higher your ranking, the more you are welcomed and preferred to live as a citizen in this nation. America was established as an English-speaking nation, as an English-speaking Anglo-Saxon Protestant nation. Wealth and power are concentrated at the top of the scale in the hands of white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, WASPs, WASPs, and decreased in accord with the darkness of a person's skin color. The racial and ethnic ordering, as shown in Table 6, is a comparative analysis of the allocation of benefits, access to resources, immigration policies, and foreign affairs relationships. There was always there has always been an open immigration policy with certain allied WASP nations. Table 6. The U.S. government's preferential ordering of immigrants according to official quotas set in 1924. Nationality English, skin color white, religion Protestant,
Um, Immigration quota open. Irish, North Europe, Northern Europe, Irish, Northern Europe, white, Protestant, 34 immigration quota, 34,007. Um, Nationality, Western Europe, white, Protestant, Western Europe, 20,000. Eastern Europe, Eastern Europe, white, 1,000. Southern Europe, white, 3,000. Middle East, skin color white, Jewish Muslim, 124, Far East, yellow, yellow, 100 Hispanic brown, restricted, African black, closed. Sources 68 Congress, Session 1, documents in the U.S. Department of Justice, immigration records, interpretation of data by Howard Zinn, author of People History of the United States. Mhm. It was not possible for the United States to remain an English only nation. However, government policies kept the American population and power close to the original founders in culture and other respects. The highest positions of wealth and power are held by white Anglo Saxon Protestants, Catholics, and Jews. These groups have well entrenched social positions characterized by a predominance in economic and political power and buttressed with a strong, cohesive group solidarity. Since the founding of the nation, power and wealth have remained concentrated in the hands of the WASP. America was an English colony that adopted English culture and forms of government. The English are at the top of the ranking as indicated in Table 6. They accorded blacks the lowest acceptable status, and the national public policy has maintained a nearly 100% shutout of people of African descent. Consequently, even if America has humanitarian concerns about the social conditions in Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, Haiti, or Black South Africa, America will not provide a place in this country for many seeking permanent refuge. Their skin color makes them unacceptable. The Irish, the other part of the British Kingdom, were also reputed to dislike blacks. According to John Garrity, author of The American Nation, A History of the United States, the Irish disliked the blacks with whom they had to compete for low-level work in some large urban areas when first entering the country. One Irish leader, Daniel O'Connell, admitted that the American Irish were among the worst enemies of the colored race. The Irish had their share of problems in the emerging American hierarchy. In fact, for a time, only the blacks and the American Indians were beneath them. The pattern that emerged was a direct correlation between the relative power of a foreign nation and the status of its immigrants in America. When America was a developing nation, for instance, England was powerful and wealthy. Immigration data reflects this pattern. The English settlers held positions of power in the new country, and their people in Europe had unlimited immigration rights into this country. Other less powerful nations like France and Germany were allowed fewer immigrants based upon the descending importance of their home countries in the world order. Powerful countries and their citizens were respected. Blacks and ethnic immigrants compete for resources. Blacks and ethnic immigrants compete for resources. A continuing flow of immigrants, decade after decade, from 1607 to the present day, came believing that America abounded with freedom and wealth. Common sense dictates that that had they anticipated they would face the kind of life most black people face, immigration would have ceased immediately after the first boatload arrived. The flow of immigrants never ceased because they were never treated like blacks. As a matter of fact, ethnic and racial immigrants historically have been a wedge between whites and blacks, giving whites an alternative to interacting with blacks. Each time in history, either before or after a war, when the American economy was expanded and could have offered material economic benefits to blacks, a new influx of immigrants or refugees arrived to fill the void and further exiled blacks from fruitful fruitful participation in the national life, according to historian Dan Lacey. Either before or after a war, each time in history, either before or after a war, when the American economy was expanding and could have offered material economic benefits to blacks, a new influx of immigrants or refugees arrived to fill the void and further exiled blacks from fruitful participation in the national life, according to historian Dan Lacey. A major myth is that there has been competition between blacks and ethnic groups. There has been no such competition. There has been no such competition. European ethnics simply bumped blacks from whatever they were interested in getting because they were higher in the order of social preference. After they finished competing for jobs, housing, or union control, blacks then applied for anything that was available. If racial customs did not exclude blacks, they optimistically waited until jobs or housing were passed down through the ethnic hierarchy, extending from English down to Jewish. As competition for resources increased and blacks became more frustrated, conflicts for power, resources, or even basic rights are developing between blacks and all ethnic and racial groups who rank higher than blacks in the order of preference. If blacks if blacks' marginal level of subsistence does not improve, they will become the common denominator in every social clash. Since the 1980s, blacks have clashed with Arabs in Cleveland and Detroit. In the early 1990s, New York and Boston were outraged over the slayings of blacks by Jews and ethnic whites. Violent confrontations between blacks and Koreans, Vietnamese, Laotians, Laotians, Laotian, and Cambodian merchants have arisen across the country in cities like Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles. The continuous conflicts in Miami between blacks and Cubans have ignited four major riots since 1973. In some instances, blacks by a single offense, by anger, were angered by a single offensive act. At other times, the riot was a response to what blacks perceived as a pattern of offensive acts. Centuries of unjust racial subordination to immigrants has generated a smoldering tension between blacks and those who came to the community from foreign nations higher in the preference order than blacks. Today, there is little cooperation, political or otherwise, between blacks and minority groups. For the most part, ethnic minorities do not support black causes. They have been getting a free ride at black people's expense on civil rights and minority programs. As members of loosely formed political coalitions, they are mostly quiet while blacks agitate, but they are quick to stake their claim on affirmative action benefits won by blacks. From Los Angeles, California to Miami, Florida, conflicts arise between blacks and ethnic groups as they seek their share of power and wealth in the mainstream beyond the shadow of blacks. In the 1990 in the 1990 mayoral election in Chicago, Hispanic leaders leapfrogged between white and black factions, offering support wherever they seem to be the most to gain for their Hispanic communities. David Dinkins, the first black mayor of New York City, lost his reelection bid in 1993 along the lines of racial issues. All ethnic blocs, except Puerto Ricans, voted against Dinkins. Burgeoning Hispanic black conflicts. In the 1990 census data, 85% of those listed as Hispanic also classified themselves as Caucasians. This ethnic group is the fastest growing population that is challenging blacks for numerical and political domination as a minority, which it is not. Hispanics have enjoyed the benefits of having it both ways. First, they criticize white society for its disproportionate share of wealth and power. Then they classify themselves as Caucasians. These groups classify themselves as Caucasians for social purposes, then as minorities to qualify for governmental programs. The question then is no longer who is white, it is who is permitted to be classified as white. Hacker, in his analysis of 1990 census data, indicated that most Asians, Middle Easterners, and Hispanics by culture and color are allowed to enter and move up the class system. They are permitted the option of calling themselves white for benefit purposes. Thus, a common front is being formed, with blacks the only excluded group. Hispanics reap great advantages and receive benefits under minority programs by calling themselves minorities. Although first generation Hispanics do experience some cultural discrimination, they have not suffered historical statutory injuries by the government within the continental United States. Their higher ethnic acceptability among whites deflects benefits and resources that should be directed to blacks. Besides having gotten themselves included under the minority label, what is the justification for the U.S. supporting a never ending influx of Hispanics from Mexico, Central America, Latin America, and the Caribbean islands? How can Hispanics whose ancestors have previously benefited from black enslavement equate themselves to blacks who are still suffering through the worst human holocaust in the history of mankind? More specifically, why would the government continue to perpetuate a wrong by comparing a fluid, ever-changing Hispanic and Asian immigrant population with a static black population? Hispanic and Asian populations qualify to receive services to help minorities to assimilate and advance into mainstream society. The static black population remains intact until the next generation of immigrants arrive needing minority assistance. The Department of Commerce, money, income, the Department of Commerce, money, income of household, families, and persons in the United States 1991 report indicated why most Hispanic and Asian ethnics should not be grouped with blacks. Table 7 shows that from the civil rights movement of the 1960s to the 1990s, whites, Hispanics, and Asians have maintained a constant income advantage over blacks, with no appreciable closing of the gap. For a comparative example, the median household income for 1991 was 18,807 for blacks, $22,691 for Hispanics, 31,569 for whites, and $36,449 for Asians. And table 7, median household income of race and Hispanic origin, 1967 to 1991. Not available. White, Hispanic, available. All household. All right. How can Asians and blacks be considered equal in a minority assistance or affirmative action program when Asians have not been historically enslaved or statutorily deprived and have median household incomes that double double that of blacks? This kind of economic injustice troubles blacks and serves as a major cause of ethnic clashes. When examining population figures, similar concerns should be raised about comparing the conditions of blacks to Hispanics. Blacks are being handicapped centuries before the present Hispanic population arrived in the United States. In 1840, when there were 4 million blacks in America, there was no record of any significant number of Hispanics. In 1862, the annexation of Texas, California, and other territories in the Southwest increased the Hispanic population to approximately 4,000 as compared to 5 million black slaves and freedmen. By the turn of the century, Hispanic immigration combined with high birth rates had increased the Hispanic population by approximately 2,500%, with black birth rates increased by nearly 100%. In the 1900 census data reported a population of 100,000 Hispanics and 9 million blacks. Over the following 90 years, the birth rates of the two groups remained relatively equal. Yet, in the 1990 census, showed an incredible increase in the Hispanic population that was growing at a rate that was 9 times faster than the black population. How could the Hispanic population close the gap between themselves and blacks in such a short period of time? The answer is in the annual immigration influx of nearly 2 million Hispanics by both legal and illegal means. The amounts This amounts to a continuous, never-ending flow of Hispanics into this country, all of whom all of whom all of whom entered the social order at a higher rank than black. Conclusion: blacks are not immigrants and cannot emulate them. Their circumstances spring from different experiences and options. Blacks have been a part of this country from its inception. They have never received recognition or benefits commensurate with their labor and wealth contributions to the development of this now rich and powerful nation. The difference in the treatment of the difference in the treatment accorded uh, Asian, Hispanic, and European ethnics makes it quite clear that contributions of hard, uncompensated labor, patriotism, and cultural gifts have little to do with who is permitted to assimilate and enjoy the fruits of American society. Okay, dominant society remains insensitive and ignorant of the great insult to injury it has committed by allowing a string of immigrants across the centuries to receive the first class citizenship status that has been denied Black Americans who have served as builders, laborers, and military veterans. Blacks are insulted when members of ethnic and racial groups come to America from countries that were formerly U.S. enemies. Indians, Asians, Hispanics, and nearly every conceivable European ethnic group has engaged in some form of declared war against Americans. Blacks are the only racial and ethnic group that has fought in every major conflict on the side of white America. The insults are further compounded when white society provides new immigrants refugee aid and family assistance while begrudging it to blacks. More insults are added on as whites then label the newcomers minorities, accord them equal claims to the country's affirmative action programs, sell them homes in neighborhoods where blacks remain excluded, make business loans to them that are denied to blacks, and praise them for their strong sense of cultural unity. The same unity that white society fears and seeks to destroy when exhibited by blacks. Oh, you. Heck, y'all talking about? I ain't talking about nothing. I ain't, Saludos. Espero que estés bien. All right. See y'all in a few. Could be exercising next. See y'all in a few. Y'all talking. Yeah.
Reading is more important than watching TV. Reading is more important than watching TV. Get back. Stick around. Mellow. You're all right.
Provided food for the king, and each man had to make provision. These were the Ben Hur in the hill country of Egypt. Israel, who provided food for the king and his house. Each man had to make provision.
Doing well. I'm still learning. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No.
one of the deceased giants, whose spear weighed 300 shekels of gold, and who was armed with a new sword, thought to kill him. But Elisha, the son of Zeruiah, came to the scene and attacked the Philistines and
Mm.